Good morning, students. It's time for English subject now. Yesterday, I have given you introduction on the poem The Song of the Open Road. I explained you the title of the poem, the writer, its theme, special features, and moral. Today, I'll teach you the whole poem stanza wise. As I guided you yesterday, that you must have your poem in front. So, as per that guidance, you have to hold your poem in front. Read and listen it carefully with me. Now, let us begin with the first stanza. The first stanza is afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road. Healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me, leading wherever I choose. Now look at the explanation. Here, afoot means being prepared or progressing. Second, light-hearted means without cares or cheerfulness. The first stanza gives you the idea of the journey of the poet himself. The poet is setting out on the open road on foot. He is very light-hearted, means cheerful, and ready for everything to meet, to experience. To meet, to experience means whatever will come in his life, whatever he is experiencing, he is ready to face all the things light-hearted. He also recognizes himself that he has his own control on his journey. He will choose where the path will take him on his journey. Means he is the master of his own journey and will choose the path his own way. He realizes that he is the only person who is in complete control of his life. He chooses his own destiny. Students, now look at the second stanza. Henceforth, I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune. Henceforth, I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing. Then, with indoor complaints, libraries, querulous criticisms, strong and contained, I travel the open road. Okay, now look at the explanation of this stanza. Here, the word whimper means to complain, especially about the fear and pain that comes in our life. Then the look at the word querulous. It means complaining and showing that one is irritated by the criticisms. Here, Whitman says that he does not have to pray for good luck as he is maker of his own luck. It means that he calls himself as a lucky person. He will no longer cry or hesitate to do what he wants because he is in need of nothing. He is totally satisfied with what he is having in his life. He does not like to be walled inside. He is strong and happy to be on the open road. Means he does not like to confine himself to the four walls of a house to live inside, but he likes to be on the road, to walk freely. He is very carefree. That's why he says he does not care for criticisms. He is really a carefree person. Now, the third stanza. The earth that is sufficient. I do not want the constellations any nearer. I know they are very well where they are. I know they suffice for those who belong to them. Students, now look at the word constellation. It means fate, destiny. Suffice means serve, or suit, or a well. Now look at the explanation. Here, the speaker seems to separate himself from others. He says that the earth is fine in the way it is. He does not desire to be any closer to the stars than he already is. He knows they are fine where they are. He knows these stars are good enough for those who belong to them. This last line is in contrast to the rest of the poem, where the speaker emphasizes his free will and independence, which means he probably does not include himself in the group of people who belong to the constellations. Constellation, I already said you that fate, destiny, it means here the group of special people who are having great destiny, great fate. And here the poet says he does not include himself in the group of those people who belong to the constellations because he is free himself. He does not belong to them as he does not need them. He does not suit them. Now, the rest part means the last part of the poem, last stanza of the poem. Still, I carry my old delicious burdens. I carry them, men and women. I carry them with me wherever I go. I swear it is impossible for me to get rid of them. I am filled with them and I will feel them in return. Guys, if you have noticed that this last stanza is physically separated from the rest of the poem, this technique is called as parenthesis. It means last stanza is almost the afterthought that the poet decides to throw in, but it is still important to the poem. Now look at the explanation. Here the poet admits that he is not without his problems. As you know, that people living on this earth planet, everyone is having his or her own problems. Similarly, here the poet is also going through the problems of his life, the ups and downs of his life. But instead of avoiding these problems, he says here he relishes them. We can understand this by the use of his word delicious. Means I said you that instead of avoiding his problems, he says that he relishes them. You can understand this by the use of the word delicious. Whitman conveys the sense of relish for his burden in the second line of this stanza. The poet admits to all that he carries these burdens. Burdens means the burdens of ups and downs, problems of his life, which are sweet, delicious with him, which are sweet and delicious, and carries them with him wherever he goes. This thought is continued in the final two lines of the poem. He admits that he cannot get rid of them. Instead of avoiding, he says this burden is actually the part and parcel of his life. He shares a symbiotic relationship with this burden. Rather than worrying, he has decided to make these burdens as a part and carry them, deal them as they are arising, as they are walking with him. That's it. Thank you. Students, the stanza wise explanation of the poem is finished now. What is your job now? That you have to study the poem twice. I have provided you the questions which belong to the brainstorming. After listening the lecture twice, you have to solve these questions yourself. Because on Wednesday, on the third day of my lecture, I'll come with the answers of these questions which you have to note down in your notebook. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.